there's a lot of stuff going on right now, probably for you, for me, for just, I think it's Jesus Christ got resurrected, or you have plans, there are things happening. There's a big boxing fight out in Saudi Arabia, like multiple. But look, Christmas, it's hectic, whatever. This video right here, the conversation that was just had between, well, Piers was, basically just like a scarecrow here, but Douglas Murray, the sophisticated Bond villain, dude graduated from fucking, fill in the blank, Oxford, Hart, like, I don't even know. But he's, a genius, a holdover from the New Atheist days. The guy's on the ground in Israel, completely right about Israel in the most eloquent and deadly way imaginable. Cenk Uygur being the typical rage-filled, ever-fattening. Like, I never understood the concept of the universe expanding in perpetuity, like, always, until I saw Cenk. And I saw his body, and I saw the expenditure, is that a word? Of his flesh. I'm talking flesh around this dude. He is so comical, though, because he's a small man, and he gets called a small man by Douglas Murray in this conversation. He's a bowling ball. It's really actually kind of insane. This is one of those videos where you don't know whether to like or dislike, because it's like, well, I like this guy, but I totally dislike this guy. So what am I supposed to do? Here's the title. You're a monster. That's his classic line. He's been calling every Republican a monster. All of his enemies are his monster. That's how that works. And meanwhile, he's defending a terrorist group and running cover for them. And at one point in this thing, he says, talking about something is a weapon of mass distraction. And he is so backward on that point, and yet it's so close to home because everything he does, all of these Hamasinian supporting schmucks, what they do is distraction from the main point of this conflict, which is the war was started by a terrorist group. Those guys are now being dealt with. Oh, by the way, you guys elected a terrorist group. That's a fun fact from a couple years back. And so any other talking points or rhetoric that isn't prioritizing and centering on that, devastating point, it's the whole point. That's the whole relevant point. And no, it's not going to be given one sentence. You're not going to dedicate one sentence to a terrorist group just invaded and slaughtered us and started a war with us. I think let's go for 2 or 3 sentences on that, because that's the entirety of why we're here discussing this. But because they are terrorist supporters, they don't want to talk about that. Because what it does is, once you recognize that, it gives complete carte blanche moral high ground to the victims of said terrorist attack. And the idea that you're going to sit there and nitpick the way in which they conduct a war against said terrorist group is fucking retarded. Anyway, I will be watching every fucking frame of this conversation in slow motion. I might go half speed just to enjoy it all. And I hope you join me.
Welcome back to Uncensored. Douglas Murray and Cenk Uygur are on bitterly opposing sides of a debate on Israel's war in Gaza.
And he's about to say something that is absolutely insane, which is they're two of the biggest thinkers of the day. Like, it is like not even remotely close, Piers.
Millions have watched them passionately articulate their cases on this show, but never together. So tonight, on our final show of the year, we've invited these two big brains to debate the big...
Okay, big brain. Okay, he's big in other places, which is grotesque. Absolutely not. So it's such a weird, cucked thing to be like, my guests are big-brained. Like, oh, God, cringe, dude.
Big, outstanding questions on this conflict. How does the war end? Will Israel face repercussions for the scale of its response?
It's such a stupid, wannabe rhetorical question. How does the war end? Piers, it ends when Hamas is destroyed. It ends when they give up. It ends when they surrender. It ends when they lose. I mean, what do you mean, how is it going to end? The idea he's floating out there softly is, should Israel just stop? Should they just stop? Like, everyone recognizes Israel is 1,000 times more powerful than the rock throwers. So how does the war end? It's either Israel stops or Hamas stops. Whose side are you on, is the question. The terrorists or the people fighting the terrorists? That's, if you want clarity here, those are the terms we should be using.
To October the 7th, has it?
But what Cenk does is he goes, well, but are Hamas even terrorists? I mean, I'd fight back if someone killed my mother and destroyed my family's home. So he'll do that, or he'll say, well, if Hamas are terrorists, then Israel is 20 times worse terrorists because they killed 20 times the people. And isn't that how we, define terrorism? Oh, by the way, the numbers of people killed I got from the terrorists. I won't mention, but Douglas Murray, he's about to mention it.
They committed war crimes. What is the future, if any?
What did you just fucking say about war crimes? Okay, I mean, and by the way, here's the truth of the matter, and this is going to be ugly, very ugly, and borderline conceited by me. The reason I pause these fucking dildos all the time is because they should be paused all the time. These people, and I'm talking Piers Morgan included, not Douglas Murray. You should unpause on that. Piers Morgan should be paused after every half a sentence because the shit he says is, markedly amateur, unimpressive, and stupid. So he's about to bring up war crimes. Do you want to talk about war crimes? Hold on.
To October the 7th. Has it committed war crimes? What is
Has it? Are you talking about Israel? Hold on.
Israel faced repercussions for the scale of its response?
Repercussions from whom? Repercussions? Please bring it on. The scale of its response, the scale is we're in a war. Here's the scale, Piers. We have to win the war. What are we doing here? Are we counting? Are we doing a head count on dead bodies? Who the fuck conducts a war like that? In no war in human history, especially the side that gets attacked, so is provoked and brought into a war. You're then going to start counting dead bodies and be like, well, I guess I have a certain number. I gotta, if I fill up that number, then I gotta just stop. No. What a retarded stance to take.
To October the 7th. Has it committed war crimes?
And then the war crimes element. So interesting that the question is, has Israel committed war crimes? Well, here's Uncle Devin in the back of here's what you didn't just hear. Has Hamas committed war crimes? Do you know why you didn't hear that question? Because the answer is fucking obvious. It's like saying, is today? Is it December? Whatever. The answer is yes. And not just one or two, they've committed thousands of war crimes over the past decade. I mean, just within this last couple months, they've committed several thousand. So here's a better question. Should I give a fuck about whether or not I commit a war crime if my opponent has just committed thousands upon me? And then, by the way, are you going to hold that standard to yourself? And the answer is no, they don't. They don't. So he's not going to go picking through British history, talking about British war crimes right now. And so when London is being bombarded by the Nazis, he's not going to be like, well, honey, don't you think we were a little hard on the beaver last night out in Dresden? No, he doesn't give a shit. So this is hypocritical. It's weak. He's not even asking the right questions. And why on earth are we sitting here morally agging on the fucking IDF over their war? First of all, they're not committing war crimes, which is a huge, something to mention. But also the gaslighting bullshit of like, one group is a terrorist group who are committing war crimes, who are explicitly committing them. They're fucking videoing their war crimes and uploading them. And the other side is going out of their way. The other side is going out of their way in a manner in which that has never been done in the history of human combat to preserve civilian lives. And by the way, the reason civilians in Palestine or Gaza are being killed is because of the continual war crime of Hamas hiding behind its civilians. That's their war crime. My fucking God. So those questions are absolutely ridiculous. And the only thing that will top them are the answers from the fat cannonball dipshit, bug-eyed. By the way, he refers to himself as a Muslim. The dude isn't a Muslim. But now, suddenly, Israel gets in a war. Oh, he's a Muslim.
What is the future, if any, for Hamas, for Gaza, and for the prospects of a true Palestinian state? Most importantly,
who gives a shit? Again, dude, the state thing, we'll get back to it.
How do we get to peace?
Oh.
Well, I'm now joined by the author.
How do we get to peace? I don't know, Piers. Maybe the terrorist group should die, or maybe they should give up. Perhaps that's a path to peace, Piers.
of the War on the West, Douglas Murray, and by Young Turks founder and Democratic presidential challenger, Cenk Uygur. Well,
So here's the birthmark. That's the buffalo right there on his shiny forehead. Don't they have makeup people to... he's a lost cause.
welcome to both of you. So I've interviewed you both a lot in this war, but not together. And Cenk, I know you felt the other night when you were debating with other people, it didn't really get into a debate, and I think that's fair enough.
Right. He's going to yell. He's such a fucking hack, man. Not since he talked to Sam Harris has he looked so bad. And it's great because Cenk is not built for this. He is literally not built for debating. He is built for everyone agree with what I say, and that's it. That's the end of the... Like, everyone should be a yes man and just give me the mic and let me just spill out whatever I want to. He's not prepared for someone to come back and point out the ridiculous nature of his arguments. He doesn't want that, so we'll just get louder and more insulting.
And what I'd like to today really is to be almost a referee, if you like, between you two to articulate your views and to see if we can reach any points of consensus. So in that spirit, let me start with you, Douglas. I think you're back in Israel. Is that right?
Yes, I'm in Israel tonight, yeah.
Today it was a sea of other stories have come out in the last few days, which have been concerning, I think. For anyone who, like me, believes that Israel has not just a moral duty to defend itself, but...
Stop. Okay, a sea of concerning stories, right. There's a war, and I was a little bit put off by... I heard some people died in the war. It's very troubling for me.
It has a fundamental right to do so after what happened on October the 7th. And I've said that clearly from the start. It's always been, for me, the issue of proportionality.
Oh, my God. Okay, so let's put this one to bed. The issue of proportionality. Piers, here's the proportionality. Your neighbor is a region run by terrorists. They operate what is essentially a terrorist state. They have dedicated millions upon millions of dollars into creating an infrastructure of military capacity, all aimed to wipe you out and genocide you. They put that into action recently to devastating effect. The proportionality that we should be concerned about is the complete and total eradication of that group of people, those terrorists. Until they surrender, until they're disbanded, until their ability to do this again is completely annihilated, the war will continue. So this is not a tit for tat. This is not an 1,200 eyes for another 1,200 eyes situation. That's not ever how war has worked, ever. This is we are now dedicated. There's a mission statement. The IDF is not sitting here saying, we're going to mow the lawn or just like kill a few Hamas militants and then call it a day. They're going after them to pull them up from the root. Okay, so that's the proportionality we're talking about. And it could be, I don't care what the end account of deaths are. That is completely irrelevant. And what they are essentially saying when they are worried, they're going, you've killed more Palestinians and Hamas members than they have killed of you. What they're saying is, I'm not really comfortable with Israel winning this. I don't really think they should win. So what you are trying to describe as disproportionate and somehow that's immoral to have a disproportionate war. No, that's called one side's winning a war. A war they're completely in the right for having become involved in. I mean, they got dragged into it. You just said they had every right to do that. Do they have the right to win the war? I mean, they have a superior military. Who doesn't think they're going to win this war? So absolutely incredibly stupid.
And it seems that in the last few days, there have been a number of incidents which really question whether Israel is being precise, as it says.
Oh my fucking... Okay, so in the food fight of war, this soft fucking pot-bellied bitch, Piers Morgan, is going to come in and go, I feel like you weren't precise. Is this a video game? Piers, it's a fucking clusterfuck out there. It's a bunch of rubble. It's a bunch of fucking people intermixed with civilians. Everyone's shooting everyone. It's a goddamn war, dude. And you're going to be like, 3 people died who shouldn't have died. So should we call the whole thing off? What a fucking idiot. Dude, name a single conflict that Britain has been in where it wasn't just mayhem and chaos and carnage. Imagine some Piers Morgan. The British occupation in India. Yeah, a couple of people died. Should we really even be in India, or like what's going on with that? Just so ridiculously hypocritical. Holy shit.
Says it is, or indiscriminate.
Indiscriminate.
And I would cite the killing of the 3 hostages. I would cite the killing of the 2 women outside the.
Holy motherfucker. So this dude is just listing off like whatever the recent timeline bullshit is in his head. 3 hostages were killed. Oh, okay. Well, several other have been killed. Dozens others, I believe, by Hamas. By the way, here's a little context enema. They're hostages because a terrorist group invaded the country and took them as hostages. They kidnapped them. That's all a war crime. But you're concerned that there was some friendly fire, potentially, and you're going to announce that, by the way, before an investigation. So completely in the blind and in the dark, you're going to be like, well, some people just died. I don't really know why, but, what the fuck? What's up with that? So who are we criticizing right now? The IDF? Israel? Jews? Or a singular person in the IDF who shot some people by mistake? And why did he do that? Well, I don't know. Is he just a bloodthirsty Jew? I mean, is this a blood libel? Yes or no? Is this a guy who hates Jews? What are we calling the sniper? Incompetent? Jew hating? Is he a monster? Is it one guy? Is this criticism just spilling out onto everyone? I don't understand. Who fucking cares? 3 hostages were killed, and it's sad. What do you want? I mean, people are dying every day there. Why are we not going over every one of those? I don't understand. IDF members are being killed. Are we going to talk about that? No. Why not? I mean, it's the only reason he brings up the 3 hostages being killed. I mean, there's people dying all the time, is because he thinks he can turn that against Israel, and just it's more bad PR for Israel. They killed some people they shouldn't have killed. I guess the IDF are just out of control fucking maniacs. We should stop funding them. And by the way, for all those fucking idiot losers out there who think that America is like their daddy, and if America stops sending them money, they're just going to crumble and just like go into fetal position. You people are fucking stupid beyond belief. Israel can survive on its own for the next millennia. Okay? They're fine. They're good. And especially to deal with the frigging rock throwers. Okay, this is not difficult, what they're doing right there. They're beyond capable of handling this. So you can go sit on your thumbs, you fucking chud out in America who thinks, oh, it's our money that's like determining the outcome of this conflict. No, it's not. You're a fucking idiot.
Catholic Church. I would cite the President of the United States saying that they're using indiscriminate bombing.
If he said that, he's a fucking senile idiot. And it's not indiscriminate. So again, Piers Morgan has let the seepage of toxic talking points from the far left and from the pro-Hamas people